Hi guys, welcome to the Crafty Maven Getaway channel on Stash It Monday, and that was the inspiration piece that I'm going to be using for today. It is a Halloween theme because it is Halloween in the US, so I am so excited. I love trick-or-treating with my daughter. This is some pictures that I took of her at her trunk or treat at school, and she is dressed up as what she said is an angry bride. She was supposed to be one of those Dias de los Muertos people, if you want to call it that, I guess. But she didn't want to put any makeup on. She really just wanted to wear this really bright red lipstick. So, you know, it works. The costume's cute, and she has a little veil with her little headband with a big flower on top. So, that is what she's doing, or at least that's what she did at trunk or treat. Not sure if she's going to put the makeup on for actual trick-or-treating tonight, but we will see. So anyway, I have primed the paper with some clear gesso because I am using this pattern paper, and I didn't want to use a white gesso because that would have covered up the background, and because I'm doing some inking and stuff like that, I did want it to mush in a little better and not just soak directly into the paper. So that is why I decided to gesso the paper here. So I showed you earlier too, before I started this, what inks I am using. I think the only one you really couldn't see very well is the Mr. Huey's, and it is in the color Audrey, but I end up not actually using it. I just stick with the two colors that I'm using here, the purple and the gold. I think it's amethyst and mustard, and both are Heidi Swap Color Shine inks. And the two pictures that I'm using, I printed on my selfie. They printed in 3x4, and then I trimmed the one on the left down a bit to be more of a square shape. And now, after I did all the mushing with the inks, I am going to be doing some splattering, and just in the same colors. And later on, I'm actually going to bring in one additional color, and I'll show you that at the very end. So now I'm just going to audition my photos there, and I like that. I don't need to add any additional ink, so I'm going to start layering some papers. And I didn't like how that white was showing through, and I didn't like how the tear looked, so I just re-tore it, and then I'm now layering that back on here and just trimming it up a bit because I didn't want a whole lot of the purple showing, but I did want it to peek through from the photo. So now I have some tissue paper. This tissue paper is gorgeous. It is, so you can see that, it came in shoes. I bought some boots last winter, and this is the tissue paper, and I was like, I am not throwing this stuff away. I'm going to use it for scrapbooking. And you don't see a lot of the texture or pattern on the tissue in this layout, but I just think it looked really cool, and I think it matched because it's got that kind of floral antique-ish look to it that I thought went well with the theme of the photos. And going back to that inspiration piece, I didn't really talk about that too much. I'm pulled mostly the purple out of the inspiration piece and the kind of look of the inspiration piece, or the, not the theme so much, but the look. The theme is Halloween, and I'm obviously doing a Halloween layout, but I liked the, I don't know, the non-cutesiness, if that makes sense, of the theme, and I wanted to make sure I did that kind of on this page because I think her costume is a little bit more, I don't know, mature and not as cutesy, I guess. So I try to stick with more mature-ish embellishments because I know Halloween can get very cutesy, which I absolutely love, but in this case I did want to stick a little bit more mature or not as cutesy looking. So that is why I am trying to stick with more of those kind of pictures, or not pictures, but I'm sorry, embellishments and such. So now I am just trimming up the tissue paper and the pattern paper, and I'm doing some ripping and things like that because I do like the texture of that, and I think it looks good for a Halloween layout. So I'm just adding that polka dot paper there on the right hand side a little bit as well, and I mounted my little photo in that. So now I'm going to take a strip of this paper and I'm going to make that go all the way across, and this is just going to help anchor the photos down. I am going to be covering up a good chunk of this paper, but I do like the fact that it kind of anchors it down. It gives me a place to put my embellishments, and then they just seem to rest better there. So I'm just going to trim that in half and then use a little bit on either side. And I just think that looks best because I have that anchoring there. So now I am kind of deciding that I like the placement of these photos, so I'm going to start gluing them down. And you'll see here in a minute that I do move that smaller photo because I'm going to add this embellishment. It is something I got from Recollections, Michael's, quite a while back, and it is from Making Memories, or Memory, oh, whatever that brand is. You can see that on the tag. I can't remember the name, but I've had this in my stash for quite some time, and I thought this look was perfect for what she is wearing because she is that like kind of like got lacy and beaded and that flower and everything on her costume. So I thought this really went well with the look of the photos. So, and I'm happy to use it because, like I said, I've had it in my stash for quite some time. When I looked at it, it was called a page marker, and I'm not sure if Michaels has those anymore, but that is what I use. So I was glad to use that for my stash, being that it's Stash It Monday. And really, going back to the theme of Stash It Monday, everything that I'm using here has been in my stash for quite some time. These rub-ons that I'm using right here are from Stampin' Up. They are heck of old. I would say that they are probably from, oh, I don't know, 2010, if not earlier than that. Maybe before my daughter was born I got them. And they rubbed on okay. With the gesso, the clear gesso has kind of a grit to it, so it doesn't always rub on very well, but it ended up working. So I trimmed these little flowers out too when I was cutting the rub-on out, so I am also putting those on. These are Martha Stewart embellishments, so these little strips. I have had these forever too. I love them when I got them, and I don't think I've ever used them. So I'm just trying to figure out which ones I want to use, and I end up going with the more lacy ones, and I'm going to put them at the top and the bottom. So now, while I'm thinking about how I want to use those Martha Stewart strips, I'm going to go look at some of the other things I have pulled out. These are some kind of they look like chalkboard, and I'm going to use the Mwah sticker and the number 31 sticker. And I'm sticking it there for now, but I am going to move it up just a bit when I do some of these other die cuts. Now, I had mentioned earlier that I was trying to not go for a very cutesy theme. I am going to pull out these die cuts here in a second. They are a little bit cutesy, but I try to pull out the ones that are a little bit less cutesy, if that makes sense. So you'll see me doing that here in just a little bit. So I really like some of these spider webs, but I didn't want to incorporate any more green, and there was lots of greens in these die cuts. So I'm going to end up pulling things out that are only either black or purple. Some of them may have a hint of green, but really I was trying to stay away from that color. So I have this little tombstone. I'm going to pull out a kitty cat, and then I'm also going to pull out a coffin and a little bat to go on this layout. So you're going to see me kind of rifling through these things to find out what I really like, and that's where I'm moving that 31, because I thought the kitty cat was covering up too much. So now I'm just having that 31 just kind of peeking up above that tombstone there, and I like that placement a lot. And you can see how, what I was mentioning earlier, that anchor piece, that black stripe piece, you can see that I'm covering it up with those die cuts, but it's okay. Like I said, it just helped me ground the photos better. Oh, and I forgot that I am putting that little piece of glittery candy. I thought the glitter was pretty nice to add to the page. And there's that coffin, and then I'm going to find a bat here in a second. It's a little tiny one that I'm just going to stick on that coffin. I tried the little witch hat, but I didn't like how that looked. So there is the little bat. And I'm just going through still looking to see if there's anything else I might want to add. And I believe I end up stopping there and not pulling anything else out. And I thought that was a little bit just too much over there, and I just kind of thought, well, you know what, I like how this looks. So here I've just finished gluing down all those pieces, so it is permanent. I am going to glue down this photo chunk here, and because I did put the clear gesso on, the reason why I left this in is I wanted to remind myself to let you guys know that when you have the clear gesso, you want to make sure you use a good strong adhesive. So I do put some ATG tape on the back of this, and quite a bit of it, but I'm also putting my Scotch 3M or my Scotch Quick Dry adhesive on the back as well, and that will really help it stick. So the HEG tape will kind of help it stick for a minute just to kind of hold it in place, and then the liquid glue, once it dries, it will be a much more permanent glue. So I highly recommend, if you're using like a gesso or mixed media on the background, especially the gesso, you do use a liquid adhesive or a hot glue gun or something like that. Now this was a fabric ribbon, and it was a little bit heavy, so I was a little worried if I just used my ATG it wouldn't be enough, so I am using this little bit stronger adhesive. It's just a double-sided tape, and I put that on the back, and that it seemed to hold it better. Now these are little sticky back pieces, so I thought it was too much to put the whole strip on the page, so I'm just putting the top half of it on the bottom, and then the bottom half, I guess, on the top. So you're going to see me putting that down, and then I'm just going to trim that off, and I really like that. It kind of keeps your eye in the page, it kind of gives it a border, but it's just not overwhelming, and I thought the whole strip would have been a little bit overwhelming. So now I'm going to audition a couple more things, but I'm going to end up not putting these things on. I thought with that red ribbon it needed something else. So what I end up doing, I end up pulling out some red mist and splattering with that. And it does look a little like blood, but I figured, hey, it is Halloween, so that's okay. So you'll see that at the very end. But first I'm going to put my title on. It's just going to say Sweet Treats. So I'm going to use these stickers, and they just remind me of Halloween because they're kind of Wriggly and stuff like that. And then the Sweet is from Recollections, and it is just a glitter simple font. So here's where I'm pulling out that red, and it is a Lindy Stamp Gang red, and I don't quite remember the name of the color, so if you guys are interested, let me know. But it is quite a bright red, and I like how it looks in the background. Because of the orange background, it's not as bloody looking, I guess. But again, it is Halloween, and I think it works well. But it ties that red ribbon at the bottom with the little emblem into the page more. So that's pretty much it. Stay tuned for some photos at the end. If you like the video, please give me a thumbs up. If you want to subscribe to my channel, my information is below. I have a Facebook page as well as Instagram, so all that information is below. And if you'd like to join us on the Crafty Maven Getaway Facebook page, please do so and play along. Thanks, guys. I will talk to you again next time. Bye-bye.